Pitakucha is a Japanese word for chit-chat and is the name of a presentation format created in Japan in 2003 by Astrid Klein and Mark Dytham, two architects looking for a way people could share their work quickly and simply in public. Since then, the idea has spread to over 700 cities around the world. At every Pitakucha night, creative thinkers come together and share their ideas with only 20 images shown for 20 seconds each. Pitakucha, a fast, fun format. Find a location, join the conversation.
Our next speaker hails from Allentown, Pennsylvania, earned his doctorate from Penn State University, and currently serves as the Director of Upper Campus Housing at California University of Pennsylvania. In addition, he's a managing partner with Student Life Consultants and founder of StudentLifeGuru.com. He's been happily married for 17 years with 3 children, is an avid cyclist averaging over 1,500 miles per year, and is a proud member of the Sons of the American Revolution, an organization for individuals with family members that served in the Revolutionary War. Here to share the valuable lessons from a historical voyage that apply to our field, please welcome to the stage Dr. Scott Helfrich.
As student affairs professionals, we face many challenging issues in our field. And it's my contention that sometimes you need to look backward and able to move forward. And history is something that we can look at in order to find some lessons for the future. I'm going to share with you a spectacular story of courage and leadership of Sir Ernest Shackleton. Sir Ernest Shackleton was an Irish-born explorer who, in the early 1900s, decided to go to the South Pole. Unfortunately, he failed to do that on a couple occasions. So what he decided to do instead was to actually cross Antarctica. So what he did was he raised public funds, put an ad in the newspaper, men wanted for hazardous journey. Small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return, doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. Thousands of men applied, and he had hired 27 of them. They left from South Georgia Island in December of 1914 in the ship Endurance. After some time, what happened was the ship got stuck in what is called pack ice. Eventually, what happened is the pack ice started to crush the ship slowly, and after a certain amount of time, it actually crushed the ship completely, and it sank into the ocean below. Now, Shackleton had previously ordered the men to take all of the supplies and get them off the ship. They lived on the pack ice, which was the open ice, for approximately 5 months. They spent their time racing dogs, they played soccer in the snow, they even hunted seals. They did this for a while until it became so dangerous that the ice started to break up. And when it broke up, they couldn't stay there anymore. So what they had to do was they had to get into the lifeboats that they had salvaged from the Endurance. After a couple of days, they got in the boats and they traveled to a deserted island called Elephant Island. They were out there by themselves. There was no way to get out of there unless they did something drastic. So Shackleton decided to take one of the boats. He had one of his carpenters retrofit it so they could travel through some of the most dangerous waters in the planet. And they traveled over 800 miles. Now imagine that. That is like traveling from Indianapolis all the way to New York City. When they finally got to South Georgia Island, unfortunately, they ended up on the opposite side of the whaling station of where they needed to be. In between was a vast mountain range. So what did Shackleton do? He and his men trekked over 36 hours to get over there to get to the whaling station. Once they got to the whaling station, Shackleton immediately got to the point where he needed to get the men off of Elephant Island. So he got a ship, a tugboat from Chile, and spent numerous times and over 3 months to get the men back. When he finally came to the shore, he yelled, "Is everything okay?" And all the men yelled, "All's well." It is a fascinating story of courage and determination. It took over 2 years for those men to get back. and not one of those men died. It is a great testament and courage. So what does that have to do with us? With a man that lived 100 years ago? We have many complex issues in our field, but for going forward, we can never give up. That was something that Shackleton never did. He never gave up. When thinking about problems, there's something that's called stinking thinking. And basically what that is that we can tell ourselves negative thoughts which are counterproductive. And it doesn't help us. It doesn't help us to get to where we need to be. And Shackleton had an overarching thought in philosophy, and that was, there is always another move. Let me say that again. There is always another move. It might not be the best move, it might not be the best option, but it's always moving forward. So let me give you a personal example. When I defended my dissertation proposal 5 years ago, I sat in front of my faculty, and they said to me, you know what, we think you need to know some, more complicated statistical analysis. I never heard of multivariate analysis, and I kind of freaked out. And stinking thinking set in. Oh my God, I'm not going to finish. I'm not going to get my doctorate. People are going to laugh at me. So I sat there on my way home, and I said, and this is the God-honest truth, what would Shackleton say? And Shackleton would say, there was always another move. There's always one step, another step you can take. I work at a university, so I hooked up with a professor, sat in on an advanced stats class, and eventually I finished my degree. Now, Shackleton, not only was he about making the next move, but he was also a servant leader. One of his men said his great strength lay in the honesty of his selflessness. Men trusted him. You all, as student affairs professionals, are servant leaders. You serve your students, your community assistants, your custodial staff, your maintenance staff, your assistant directors. You are servant leaders. Continue to be servant leaders to the people on your campus. My challenge for you is this. What is your next move? What is your next move? So I want you to do two things. I want you to consider, and I want you to commit. I want you to consider what is your next move, and I want you to commit to that. I want you to tweet me what your commitment is. It might not be today, you might not know today, you might not know tomorrow, you might not know next week, but I want you to commit to what your next move is. Thank you very much.
Never gonna stop now, baby.